Did you hear about the husband who's wondering if he's the AH for doing absolutely nothing for the child that his ex-wife had from an affair, even now after he has primary care of their kids now? So this husband learned 6 years ago that his ex-wife was cheating on him. He ended their marriage and filed for divorce. However, everything was delayed because she was pregnant.
We're just a few seconds into this story, and I'm already irritated. But at least this guy made the right choice and didn't waste any time. Before we move on though, I think it's interesting that it took him 6 years to find out that his ex was banging some other dude. I wonder how long it was before he even got a hint that something was up.
Once her child was born, it was established that he wasn't the biological father. His name was then removed from the birth certificate and the biological father's name was then added. His ex-wife and the father of the child then became a couple. Now, throughout the whole process, he shared 50-50 custody with the 3 children that he shared with his ex-wife. He says his kids were old enough to figure out what had happened. He got them therapy after his ex-wife resisted initially, and he did his best to reassure them that they didn't need to hate anyone for what had happened. But their relationship with their mother never recovered, and the relationship with her youngest never existed from what he's aware of.
It's a good job that he got that paternity test done ASAP. Far too many guys wait for too long to get this sorted, which ends with them paying for a child that isn't even theirs.
Where's my money? Where's my money?
Situations like this are always hardest on the kids. And in this case, it's probably going to be the child who was born from the affair who'll suffer the most. Why don't people ever think about things like this when they make the choice to step out on their partner?
Anyway, the affair partner, the one that she had the child with, took off 3 years ago. And since then, his ex-wife has asked him to take an active role in her child's life because he's so involved in their other 3 kids' lives.
This is pretty typical. Relationships that form out of cheating rarely make it. And usually, it's only the cheating spouse who has to deal with the consequences of that. But in this story, there is now a child in the picture who doesn't have a dad because of the choices the mother made. It's ridiculous for her to ask this dude to step in and play the fatherly role for a kid that isn't his. If she was so concerned about her child's well-being, she shouldn't have let some other dude shoot up the club. I feel for the kid though. I really do. But the mother's gonna have to handle this on her own because this whole situation was born out of the choices she made. So she's gotta be accountable for that. She had a good man in her life, someone who was taking care of business, but she chose to throw that all away for a dude who couldn't give less of a damn about her and their child. She knows that her ex is someone who'll always be there for his kids, which is why she's trying to push that responsibility onto him. Now that her love affairs come to an end, she's in survival mode, looking for someone to come along and save her from this mess.
Each and every time she's made this request, he's told her no. She then tried to take full custody of the 3 kids that they shared together because he refused to include her youngest. And the judge told her that it didn't work like that and that he had no legal responsibility to her youngest child.
This woman's lost her mind, and I'm glad that the judge laid down the law in this instance. As they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. There's no shortage of women who try to use the kids against an ex if things get sour, which is why men should always try to be proactive when it comes to this sort of stuff.
He ended up getting primary custody of their 3 children about a year ago. This is because his ex-wife made a few bad decisions. Not only lost the job that she had, but also the house. She also had no savings and overall was left with next to nothing. After this, her request for him to do something with her youngest child increased. He says he ignored them for the most part and did as he was instructed to do by his lawyer. He continued to say no and also reminded her that there are places she can go to if she needed help to feed her youngest. 3 kids that they do share together must go to her house every other weekend, and they hate it, which angers his ex-wife because they have zero relationship with her youngest child. It angers her that he doesn't make sure that all of the children have a good relationship together and that her youngest knows what it's like to have a fatherly figure. She told him that she would allow him to adopt her youngest child if he was willing to.
Imagine that. I don't know how good her life was before all of this, but I gotta imagine it was much better than everything that's going on now. It never ceases to amaze me how people will throw everything away for seemingly no reason. And when it all goes left, they refuse to accept their losses.
Help me, please!
With no biological father in the picture and no way for her to secure resources, this woman's losing it, which honestly, I would laugh at. But there's a child in the picture who didn't ask for any of this. She went out and had all the fun with the dude she was hooking up with for however long. And now that the party's over, she wants her ex to swoop in and clean up the mess, which isn't something he should even consider doing. It does suck that the youngest kid doesn't have a real connection with their half-siblings. But this is all the mom's fault, which unfortunately the kid has to pay the price for.
His ex has become even more angry now because there are things that her youngest is missing out on, and they are asking her more questions now. She told him that he acts like he's such a great person, but he treats her child like crap. He says he doesn't feel bad. He says that he knows he would have a very difficult time being around this child and they are innocent in this whole situation. So he prefers to just stay away and not let them feel the weight of all the issues he has with their mother and how they were conceived. But now he's wondering if this makes him an awful person. So he's wondering if he's the AH, because at the end of the day, the child is innocent in all of this and only has his ex and no one else.
If he was a good man, he'd be able to see past the child's heritage and be the father the child needs. However, he isn't a bad guy for not doing it either. I personally would have no worries doing this.
Yeah, he should be the bigger person and support that child. I would say the same thing if the roles were reversed and he was the child's father. Ultimately, they're all family.
I don't agree with either of these comments. If the mom was brazen enough to let another dude hit Raw, she should deal with the fallout from all that. It's her responsibility to make sure her child is good. And if she really cared, she wouldn't have landed her ass in this situation to begin with. This is just female mate choice gone wrong. And even though the woman in this story got caught, trust me, there are plenty of women who get away with this sort of thing and never get found out, which is why men should always opt for a paternity test, because at the end of the day, you just never know. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll catch you in the next one.